and welcome to our cozy fireside annual meeting.
Excellent. Thanks, Alexis. I also want to send a special thanks. We have Representative Lindsay Sabadosa, who's here. Thanks, Lindsay, for coming, Rep. And we also have DCR Commissioner LaChapelle, who is in as well. She's local to East Hampton, so we're proud to represent the Valley here. So thanks for hosting such a lovely day, by the way. Great. So obviously, MassBike is a robust team. I have the entire team here, and I'm so proud of that. If you're a MassBike staff, please raise your hand real quick. Come and mix and mingle with us. We are a growing team. I'm so proud that we were able to add 2 new positions this year. We have an operations manager and a programs manager as brand new positions. So we are expanding our influence. And if you haven't worked with us, please come meet us, get our names, get our contact info. We have so much more to do with your help. And also I want to mention that we are representing across the state. We have Alexis here on the Connecticut River Valley. We have Alex out in Worcester, and we have the core team in the Boston office as well, but please invite us to your neck of the woods. I also want to thank our board. We have a board chair here. Doug, you want to come out and say hi? And any other board members, go ahead and raise your hand. Excellent. You want to mention about the board?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out to Florence. If you're not out from this part of this, a long way out here from Boston. We try on the board to be representative of cyclists in the cycling community across the state. So we're very spread out geographically. So it's great to get actually a whole bunch of us here in person, which doesn't happen all that often.
Awesome. Cool. We are a growing board as well. So if you're interested in joining the leadership team, we are always looking for more volunteer board members. Whatever your skill set may be, we have a role for you. So as the org is moving forward, please get in touch if you're interested in kind of finding out how it works. We'll be here for the rest of the meeting as well. Great. I'm actually going to pass it off to Doug real quick. You can mention a little bit about some of the board work that we were able to do this past year.
Is the next slide?
Yeah, you got it.
Great. So I'm going to talk about the strategic planning update, and then we're going to have Galen come back to talk about the legislative wins, our engagement opportunities. Steve, are you writing all of the slides there? All those streaks there. It's all right. We'll have Alex up for the panel discussion about Worcester, our new trail etiquette kit that Alex has been working on, and we'll end up with our Advocate of the Year presentation. So let's go on to the strategic planning. The past 2 years and into this year is trying to clarify the mission of MassBike. Obviously, Massachusetts and bikes, but that's a lot of different things, a lot of different people to help clarify it. So we hired a consultant and been working internally with the board and the staff to come up with this new mission statement for MassBike, promoting better cycling through improved infrastructure, access, safety for all people throughout Massachusetts. Does it sound good? All right. And we believe it. Why we're doing it? Because we think Massachusetts can be a better place to live, work, and play if more people rode more bikes more often. Everybody's on board with that? All right. So I think we nailed it then. All right, fantastic. So in the belief, right, in sort of broadening off beyond that, which is obviously environmental sustainability, right? We all like that on bikes, getting out there, right? Transportation justice, realizing people need access and it can't always be by cars. That cyclists, pedestrians, and vehicles all have equal rights to the road. That's sharing it. If not to have car-only infrastructure that goes along with it. Physical and mental health. Who doesn't feel better after going for a long bike ride or a short bike ride, both physically and mentally? Any bike ride, long, short, any of that. Getting back to that. And the economic piece, right? The community building across it. I can say whenever the rare times I commute by car, I don't say hello to anybody in the morning. But during my bike commute, I'm saying hello to half dozen people because you actually get to see their faces and interact that. As well as economic. We think village centers and city centers do better with more cycling involved with it, which also leads to economic growth and vitality. I love the trail system out here. I was saying I went through here. One of the things I did this year, not this year, in 2025, I rode through every city and town in Massachusetts on my bike, including here to Northampton several times. And I do remember coming off the rail trail, coming up here through the park. I didn't realize the trail turned into single track a little bit farther on, but I learned my lesson on that. But I love this. I thought this would be a great place to have an event. So I was super happy when we found out this was going to have the annual meeting. You guys done with me?
I think we do it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug.
Fantastic. Great. Thanks, everyone.
So in order to hit all of our strategic planning goals, MassBike has a variety of day-to-day work that we are rolling through. And I'll talk briefly about two of the major pieces that I feel MassBike owns, particularly in our wheelhouse. The first is when we're talking about education. There's so much need for education campaigns out there in the state, from everything from new riders to young riders to emerging technologies. We are working with the RMV to educate drivers. We're working with police departments to educate on new laws that are popping up. And just to highlight a few things that we were able to do in 2025, which reaffirms our belief that education is one of the biggest elements of promoting better biking across the state. I'm really proud that we are able to work with our Safe Routes to Schools partners to build a new bike fleet. This bike fleet is something that has been brand new for MassBike. We have about 45 bikes that are in various stages of repair and disrepair to meet the needs of our bike rodeos where bikes not may be. So if you want to have a bike rodeo in an equitable and accessible way, the best way to do that is to actually provide the bikes for the youths. So we're super proud to be able to have that opportunity now. This is brand new for MassBike. And it is, as you can see from our picture of Aaron, our instructor on the bottom left, quite an exciting time for us out there. I don't know if any of you are in the business of refurbished bicycles, but it is an endless cascade of metal and wheels. And we are very proud to be able to have that. And we're also working a lot on our e-bike 101 guide for new riders who are out there. As part of our programs with the Mass Clean Energy Center and the City of Boston, we are working on providing e-bike vouchers for low-income riders to be able to purchase an e-bike to get out and transfer some of their car trips into bike trips. Now, what we're finding, though, is a lot of this population is unfamiliar with some of the rules of the road, some of the traffic principles, and how to generally feel safe and comfortable out there because, for those of you who are not ardent riders, it is pretty nerve-wracking sometimes, especially if you're just given a bike and told to get out and ride. So one thing that we are working on, and it's a ongoing process, because we are receiving feedback from all of our riders just the same. We're working on a guide, an e-bike ownership guide, which will help people understand, one, about the maintenance and the care for their bike, but also how to think about themselves in principles of traffic. And I think that is something that is a very needed gap out there in our work. And if you're interested in that work, we have some of the guides at our front table that Miss Sarah over there has put together. So come check it out. It's a cool emerging element of our resources. And I should say that we are designing curriculum and outreach for all of these e-bike voucher recipients, which you'll hear a little bit more later in the presentation. Also, MassBike's legislative and policy works. That's one of our pillars of being a statewide organization. Now we realize that a lot of laws and policies are state issues. So just going to highlight two pieces of work that we were able to push forward in 2025. The first is the Micromobility Commission, which was codified into law. The Mass DOT has called together a commission of about 15 or so advocates, industry folks, elected officials, and policy-minded police officers to think about how we are actually going to build a forward progress of e-bikes, scooters, and these new micromobility devices. This is brand new, basically a new frontier for transportation in this state and frankly in this country. And what we were able to pursue is a earnest and honest need for how we are going to build a tiered system of devices and then regulate and incentivize their use. I think it's important to note that part of the draft recommendations that are screenshotted right here do differentiate between e-bikes and scooters, do differentiate between speeds, and still allow that local jurisdictions will have the ability to regulate where these devices go and how they're used. However, the main charge of this commission was also to promote innovation and incentives to get more of these devices out in a sensible way. Because one thing that I think we hear a lot of is that, well, they're too fast on our pathways, and that is very true. But we also got to think, well, how are we designing our pathways? How are we designing and educating? How are we enforcing? And how are we really thinking what is going to happen when we have 10 times the use, 100 times the use of these devices on our roads and paths? So think about that, and that is part of the work that MassBike is engaged upon. And in the coming weeks, the report should be rolled out. And so I think we'll be able to have a nice road show to bring us back out to the Connecticut River Valley so that we can share some of the findings that the commission will have reported out. Similarly, in 2025, one more side. I want one more thing to talk about here. This is a small but very crucial element that helps your pathways move forward. And this is a little half sentence that was added into the energy and siting reform law that was signed in this year. So how many of you represent a Friends of a Trails group? Show of hands, right? How many of you have been doing this work for multiple decades? Yeah. It takes ages to move forward on trails. And one of the hardest components is getting the land acquisition for the right of way for these continuous pathways. The state is undergoing a reform of its energy policies. We need a new energy grid. We need a whole new energy platform. And part of that was a law that Governor Healy signed in that allows for a whole new concept of siting these utility corridors. As community benefit, as a mitigation tool, it is explicitly stated that shared use recreational paths or access to nature are a community benefit. This is how paths like the Mass Central in Sudbury or the Northern Strand in Lynn, which is actually this is the Malden side right here, picture here. You can see it's along a power line corridor and a gas corridor. This is a incredibly useful tool as a local advocate that I want you to know about, that you can explicitly ask a utility company to have a shared use recreational access on these corridors as a community benefit. So when we're rethinking our entire statewide grid, try to think about where we can co-locate our paths and trails with our utility lines, because that's going to be where the next new frontier is for the next coming decades in the state. This is a small but very powerful legislative win if you know how to use the tool. So now the job is on our end to get this in, on your end to use it when you're having these conversations at a local level. Cool. With that, I'm going to pass it off to Emma, our administrative coordinator, to talk a lot about the statewide impact of our MassBike programs. Emma, come on up, take it away.
Okay. Hi, I'm Emma. I technically my role is administrative coordinator, but I've been finding that I've been doing a lot more than just administrative work. I've actually been very involved in MassBike's programming for the past couple of years. And that's been a huge joy. So my first question for you all has anyone been to a Bike Month event or hosted a Bike Month event in 2025? Raise your hands. Nice. So Bike Month is our opportunity in May to celebrate the bike joy that we all have when we're going out there, especially in early spring. And what we do is we support local event hosts to ranging from bike breakfasts to community rides to gatherings to workshops. And it's such a great way to kind of highlight the entire state and what's going on, because there is a lot going on. So we post these event listings on our website. We shout them out in our newsletter, which goes out every week. We also love to send out exclusive swag. So we often design a t-shirt, we have stickers, we send out lights. It's just such a great, joyous time to celebrate all the fun that biking is. And actually, if you can see on the slide, that was our t-shirt from last year, that cute little monster that you're gonna be seeing a lot more of, hopefully. So a few of my favorite Bike Month moments of 2025 were the Bike to Work Day Festival in Boston. So this is a really great time. It's basically just a huge party in City Hall Plaza celebrating all of the bike groups, group rides, all riding in together. There's food, there's music, there's friends. It's just a really wonderful time and such a wonderful way to start, anyone's work day. Who wouldn't want, a trike called Thug to kind of spruce up your morning? It's such a great time, and I love participating every year. Another thing that we do annually is our annual Kitty Knox ride. So this is a really wonderful collaboration with Plays in Place. You're actually in the back of the venue if you have questions. And this is a ride celebrating and teaching about the life of Kitty Knox. And this is just a great learning opportunity and a great community building event that we do in the Boston area. All right, moving on. I do have another question for you all. This is pop quiz time. How many of you have been to the State House or had a meeting with your local legislator? Raise your hands. All right, that's great. This is so great to see. So another program that I've been involved with that I'm really proud of is setting up opportunities for advocates and really anyone who bikes to come to the State House, to set up meetings, to lead their own meetings with their local representatives. And this is just kind of a really great, special, supportive environment for folks to kind of introduce what it's like to kind of be an advocate, to lead these meetings, to set up these meetings. And I'm just really proud to offer this opportunity for everyone. Last year we had over 60 people attend. And it's just so great for me personally to see, people making connections with each other over their shared passion for safe bicycling, as well as, their district, bonding over where they live. It's really wonderful to see. So that's been really great for me. All right, moving on to a third question. How many of you have received lights, maybe on your commute home, or have seen a lights brigade kind of out in the world? Nice. All right, cool. So another program that I've been really involved in is our Lights Brigade program, which is a program where we activate our volunteers all over the state to stand out in the cold, in the dark, and hand out bike lights completely for free for any cyclist who needs to be lit. This program was generously sponsored by Jeffrey Glassman Injury Lawyers, so thank you so much to them for allowing us to send out 1,000 lights across the state to riders who need them. So that's really huge. And again, this is just such a community building program, bringing volunteers out, connecting with individuals. Connecting with individual riders is just such a powerful thing, and I think it's very meaningful to a lot of people. It's been also really great for me to get me out of the office and into the streets and just to kind of connect with volunteers who are very passionate. Okay, last question for you all. Who has been to a World Day of Remembrance event? Wow, great. You guys are an active crowd. This is awesome. I appreciate your participation. So World Day of Remembrance is a time for us to pause and reflect on the power and the meaning of our work. It's often a somber moment, but it's a powerful one. So we support World Day of Remembrance by offering small grants that different groups can apply for, and this allows them to basically set up and host their own community events. Through the funding that we allocate for traffic safety advocacy work. So it's been really powerful to see more and more communities every year stepping up, hosting events, and just really sharing some meaningful, powerful stories. So that's been really great to see. And that's a really powerful example of our statewide impact. And another example of our statewide work is our participation in the expansion of the e-bike voucher program. So it's just seeing that opportunity for people all over the state, individuals all over the state to be impacted and being allowed to purchase an e-bike, the ability to purchase an e-bike and to get out on in the streets in their community. So we are going to play you a short video that will kind of highlight what we've been up to for the past couple months concerning the e-bike statewide voucher program. We'll play this video and then we will take a 5-minute break. So enjoy. Thank you.
And look, you could be riding in style like me on the limo.
MassBike is a nonprofit dedicated to promoting safer, better bicycling statewide through improved infrastructure and access. Our goal, a better Massachusetts where more people ride bikes more often, because cycling benefits everyone.
So I think it has helped me in terms of my health and well-being. Also, I've met a lot of new people too through the program, and it must be in the genes. Bike riders are typically very friendly, And so I'm happy to be part of this community too.
In 2025, we hosted over 30 e-bike events statewide, from Cape Cod Canal to Northampton to Lowell, extending our education and outreach.
So because of the voucher program, we've started carrying a lot of different types of e-bikes. So instead of just having them for commuters, we have them for recreational riders. We have ones that fold.
I was able to go to work. I was able to go and visit my grandchildren, and I never missed a day being able to see them, because even though it was hills and everything else and long distance, I was still able to do it with the e-bike.
Like I said, it's definitely a great one. It helps everybody else out. I just love it, honestly. It's a lifesaver. I'm a mom of 4 kids, so we're on the go. So that's all about it. Is anything that's go, 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 we're always in the motion.
All right. Well, thank you again for fighting this lovely weather and for being here. Some of you are here in person. The brave ones and the even braver ones are at home. So welcome to all of you. I'm Alex. I'm the Worcester Program Manager, and I'm delighted to be here with Sarah, our Programs Manager. I'm excited to share a brief overview, and when I say brief, it's going to be brief, of our e-bike pilot program that we had the fortune of having in Worcester and neighboring communities between 2022 and 2025. We started this program as a local pilot with a simple goal: to get e-bikes into people's hands and make clean transportation more accessible. From there, it grew into something really, really special. Since then, 203 participants were selected, and together they took more than 21,000 trips. 21,000 trips. And they rode over 93,000 miles. Wow. And in the process, of course, they replaced a lot of car trips. Something that it's important to share with all of you today is that helps us avoid nearly 50,000, I'm going to say it again, 50,000 pounds of CO2. And if you're wondering how many gallons of gas there is, it's 2,500 gallons of gasoline. Along the way, we also created a toolkit that help other communities launch a free or low-cost e-bike programs. That work took many months, and it will be available on our website very, very soon. Through this work, we help build a strong biking culture in Worcester, organizing and partnering on 68 community events. That's on average, in those 3 years, 2 events a month. And if you have organized or collaborated on an event, you know that 2 events a month sounds very easy to say, but very difficult to do. I do want to say that I will forever be grateful. Some of you guys are here I will forever be grateful for all your work as partners and volunteers. And just to reiterate once again, every time somebody give me a microphone, they're gonna hear it. I am gonna say that we would not have been able to do all this work without our partners. So we are eternally grateful for your partnership, your friendship, and your help. Thank you so, so much. Because of this success, we were selected to help with the community outreach of our state e-bike incentive program. And now I'm gonna turn it to Sarah, but before that, Sarah just joined us in September, and the bike video that you saw is all her. So we wanna recognize Sarah for her hard work, putting that video together. If you know how much work is putting a video, well, she did it. So kudos to Sarah for doing that work. So I'm gonna turn it over to Sarah, and she can tell us more about what she's been doing with the e-bike incentive program.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Well, with MassBike, we'll be hosting over more than 30 events this 2025, just related with e-bike education. And of course, with not just this program, but all the programs that we do, we look to get new riders confident, safe, and of course, build like a community that is here and it's online. And we can see how all this work that, if I'm not wrong, is like 49 years. I don't know what it means that, because clearly not for that. But I can see what I can see on this short time with MassBike and a long time being like a bike advocate and a like bike lover is that e-bikes have shifted the way people travel and like have expand accessibility for people. So really loose numbers that are the ones that we think that are most significant is like 39 of the people that have received this voucher have like shift their transportation method. So either they start going outside, they are moving their body, or they are changing from other ways of moving. Of these people, 85% have replaced car trips with e-bikes. This is a significant number, and we see it on like the CEO, no, but the carbon, whatever, you get it. And then of course they support the daily errands and the healthcare. They get to see their grandchildren, and we see it on the video. So this is like really significant. Like we are actually shifting and impacting the community directly, one by one. And it's like a work that MassBike does for like many years, and it's amazing. And it makes me like personally really happy to see this. And like Alex, you've been here with MassBike for 3.5 years. How you feel like with these new events, like how you think like they develop, and like tell us a little bit more about these events and how they have shifted the way people move around the state.
Thank you, Sarah. So I think our program was different because we just didn't get wheels turning. While the wheels were turning, we got to we were fortunate to get people talking. We were fortunate to get obviously people riding, but more than anything, we got people to collaborate with one another. And thanks to that collaboration, some friendships happened. So that's the beauty of bikes. I think for the ones who, for all of us here who ride bikes and at home, there is something that we cannot explain with words. It just happens, and you have to discover it when you ride your bike, and especially when you ride your bikes in a group. And something that I have to say, when I started with this program in April of 2022, Galen told me bikes are instrument of social change. And I always remember that, because that's what I have seen in Worcester and other communities. Change is happening. People are working together. And in these times that we're in, I think it's more important than ever that we talk to one another, that we spend time with one another, and that we spend as much as we can time in the community. So I think that's one of the things that I have to say that happened thanks to the program, and all of you really. Sarah, you've also been doing several programs since September. What's your favorite memory and or change that you saw in the riders?
I think the biggest like memory or like change that I can see is like the confidence. How like riders come with to this ride or to education events with little to no knowledge, and then you can see the change and the confidence of their smile, of understanding their bike, or seeing other pairs having the same difficulties and then solving it as a community while we go on the trails, while we are on the streets. So that change in between rides, or even on one ride, it's so powerful. Like you see people like not understanding their bike, not understanding the rules, and then they come to these events that we like support and we structure for this, and then you can see the change. And like we can see it on these pictures that I can like, even tell you, like Don, who is on the assisted bike. He got the bike and he wasn't like sure of how he could ride on the streets, and that was the first time that he was using his e-bike. And he said it, he shared with us how it was like, now I understand, like I understand how to use my hands, how to use my body, and the community make me feel protected. So I think seeing that change is really, really powerful. With this, I always wonder, right, how new writers can like evolve and how can become advocates, so we can see these new writers here or connected with us. What do you think about that, Alex?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but the first time I heard the word advocacy, I thought I had to learn another language. And I was like, okay, one more. But then I realized that we do advocacy exactly when we get out of bed, you know? We have to advocate for so many things. It's part of breathing. So a simple thing, when I think about what we can do with rides, is to post them online. So other people can see, and it's contagious. If they see, what is the first thing that we do when we are looking at a picture? We look for ourselves in the picture, right? So when I can guarantee you that if you post a picture and what is the first thing that you're going to do? You're going to look for yourself in the picture. And the more pictures that we post, the more we inspire people. And they see themselves and they say, well, next time it's going to be me in this picture. And it's a virtuous cycle. So I would say that is a basic thing that we all do, and we are, by doing that, advocating for better days for cycling. So Sarah, speaking of bike advocacy, what is one thing that you suggest that people could do in the audience in 2026 to inspire others to ride safely, confidently, and get involved in their communities?
I think honestly, like you were saying, invite people to rides, to low stress rides, be out with the community, be patient with these new riders. I think like when you understand that biking is not something that is happening outside, but something that you can belong, especially as a new rider, you're gonna feel welcome. You're gonna be part of it. And we said on like the video, like bike people are really friendly, and if we keep building these, we're definitely gonna see more people on the streets. Like if you see a new rider, invite them to a ride. And that's why we have our bike friendly calendar on our website, which I invite you to check. And go even beyond that, send us an email. If you have a bike idea here or like people online, send us an email. We might be able to go to your town, to your local community, and we can like keep inspiring these people to feel safe, feel confident, and even beyond that, as just Alex was mentioned, build a community that, as you see here and online, is really strong. And it has made change, and it takes a little longer, but we need to keep doing it. And like, I want to invite, like, I want to see more young people. I want to see 16 years old here, 17, even 14. That's when I started advocating, and I think it was just because somebody was like, you can ride a bike, you can like just bike to school," and I was like, really? So when you invite people to this low stress ride, to these communities, even when they don't really are like super good riders or like these weather riders, they will start belonging to us and we will inspire them.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you everyone for the opportunity to share what we've done. You can tell if there's something that you can tell in all of us at MassBike is a passion that we have, and passion is contagious. So we hope we continue inspiring you for the next ride, for the next dream, and please don't forget to talk about your experience when you're riding. You might be touching one life. And as I learned years ago, you never know when you are creating a miracle, and bikes create miracles. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Galen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Isn't that the best? It really is. Great. We're gonna keep the slide up just for 1 second for the folks on Zoom so they can see the wonderful rides that are part of this e-bike program too. All right, so the next part of our portion of the program, we're going to be bringing on Alexis to talk about the statewide work that she's been able to build with her regional advocacy. If you haven't engaged with Alexis, please do. She is responsible for keeping track of all the groups throughout the state and making sure that you are all working together. To do that, there are a few tools that Alexis has been working on diligently for the past year that are being rolled out today. So I'll let Alexis talk about it. All right, thanks.
I call myself the bike librarian. So with all these new writers, I'm just speaking to the other one.
Got it.
2 seconds.
You want me to put this up for you?
Yes. Un momento. Sorry for being painful. Okay. With all these new writers, there's greater need for communication. So I created the Trail Etiquette Toolkit, inspired by the Manhan Rail Trail. This toolkit is meant to provide a menu of options for bike ped groups to connect with trail users through means of physical signs, digital campaigns, education, and outreach. I've already presented this material at several rail trail groups in this last year, and MassBike will likely be hosting a webinar on this topic in the upcoming months. And to illustrate just how many advocates and community organizers there are in Massachusetts, I compiled a spreadsheet of all the bike ped groups in the state. There are at least 200 bike ped groups and working on advocacy in Massachusetts. And this resource is meant for you to grow your network and find advocates near you. Coalition building is key to creating community. And finally, Council of Advocates. At last year's annual meeting, I put out a call to build the Council of Advocates. We had about 20 members who met remotely throughout the year, and we discussed various topics such as bike count data, Vision Zero, and local advocacy. Can I put some of you on the spot? Any Council of Advocates in the room? Oh, never mind. We also hosted this ride on the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. And if you're interested in joining us, please do so by emailing me or filling out the form on our website. That's it.
Chris, you want to join me on this one? Jack, you want to join on this one? Cool. All right, so let's see if we can do this way. I I think both these mics work too. So much work. I'm so proud to be able to showcase our staff. And what we did when we were asking how to pull this meeting together, basically we polled everyone and said, what do you want to talk about? So I want you to get a sense of this is all homegrown from our staff's work. But I'd be remiss if we didn't mention that all this is funded because we are a nonprofit through our diligent fundraising tools. So I'm going to pass it a little bit to Kristen and Jack to talk a little bit about how you can support.
Right. Hello. I'm Kristen. This is my first year on the board. Let me just say, it's been really, no, this is my second annual meeting, but my first full year. Math. I got it. Shy about fundraising. I know math. No. And as a Gen Xer, I'm going to tell you, I grew up to the message that this was supported by our corporate sponsors and riders like you. See, you all got me. And yeah, so there are ways I think the 3 ways, you'll correct me, which is through, we have grants that are applied for. Those are from the state and from the federal government. I think we all know that the federal government's probably not giving us anything right now. So those are always, year to year, we can get them, we don't get them. We have our generous corporate sponsors, bike shops and other organizations that feel that it is important to sponsor MassBike. And then there's us, right? And whether that's one-time donations or monthly donations, which to give a smaller amount each month that adds up to something bigger, these are the ways that we can support the efforts of this amazing team. And now I'm going to pass it to our team leader on fundraising.
Hi. Thank you, Kristen. Jack Fair, and I'm very proud to tell you that 100% of the board of MassBike all donated last year. And we have that commitment every year. But I have a challenge for you. I mean, we're so thankful for all that you've done for us over the years. But what do we have 2 weeks from tomorrow? We have the Super Bowl. So if you host people, or if you go to somebody else's house and you have a gathering, you sell the squares, right? A little bit of, local gambling. How about a 50-50 raffle? And think in terms of MassBike. And that's an easy way. The best way of fundraising for us is.
We wanted to hear you so much. We're hearing it tonight.
Yeah. Is to think closer. Okay.
Yeah.
Is to think about how do you leverage your own donations, right? That's the key to our success. Is we're so thankful of the checks that you write, but on top of that, how do you get your friends involved? So think in terms of that, gatherings throughout the year. How do you leverage your $10 into 100? And that'll make a huge difference. Thanks, everybody.
Cool. Thanks, Tim. All right, pitch over. There will be one more pitch before the end of the program, so just a heads up there. All right, for this particular part of the program, I would love to have Alexa here in person, but she's not able to join, so I'm going to speak on her behalf. But we really appreciate all of the individual efforts that take place across the state. And once a year, we highlight one individual to showcase some of the stories and inspire you to keep moving forward in this arduous work. We have a video that I'll show in 1 second from Alexa, but I'll talk for her. Alexa Gomberg is a MIT graduate student. She has a story to tell because her friend was killed in a traffic crash in Cambridge about 1.5 years ago. She has turned her grief into advocacy. She has attended our lobby days. She's gotten to know her elected leaders by first name basis. She is helping pursue the hard work on campus of trying to transform MIT's policies towards road safety. And she has helped us form the Families for Safe Streets chapter, which is an evolution of the Vision Zero Coalition, which is funded and founded by, I should say founded by, people who are directly impacted and affected in traffic crashes. This is some of the hardest work that we do at MassBike and some of the most real of the work that we do here. I want to thank Laura Fredericks, who's here as well, representing the Families for Safe Streets. And the idea that MassBike is a resource for folks to turn grief into advocacy makes my heart grow. So we have this award, which Alexa is not here to receive, but I will hold it up for everybody here to see. And we'll have it at the front. It says, "Thank you for your dedication and leadership in making our streets safer across Massachusetts. Alexa Gomberg, 2025 Advocate of the Year for MassBike." There's a few photos here. Go back 1 second here, Steve. Thank you so much. We have Alexa speaking at the World Day of Remembrance event in Boston last year, addressing hundreds and hundreds of cycling advocates on the steps of the State House. And this is her at WGBH alongside Eric Olson, who tragically lost a 5-year-old daughter in a traffic crash as well, on a broadcast to talk about World Day of Remembrance and to be able to share their stories as inspiration to keep us moving forward. We are eternally grateful. So I think I can get this up a bit, and I think we can play.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexa. Thank you so much for this award. I'm so inspired by everything that you guys do over at MassBike to help our community and to inspire folks like me to channel our grief and love for our lost ones into advocacy. So my story started about 1.5 years ago when my best friend, Minty Wynn, was biking to MIT. We're both grad students, and she was struck by a box truck in a right hook crash. After that crash, I was totally lost and didn't know what to do, but through the help of some wonderful advocates in the state, like Eric Olson and Mary Beth Ellis and Emily Stein, they were able to teach me how I could channel all that love I had for her and still have for her into action. I've been doing this through 2 ways. One way I've been able to do it is as a graduate student at MIT. I founded a working group on bicycle safety so that we could advocate both to our local government and to our state government on behalf of graduate students, most of whom bike in the area or walk. And as also we can advocate to MIT to increase education for people who drive and people who use micromobility devices to get to work every day. We've also been trying to pressure MIT to require their preferred vendors to have truck safety devices, increase truck safety. Another piece of advocacy that I've been working on with Families for Safe Streets, Massachusetts, is to put together an annual World Day of Remembrance event in the Boston area called Ride for Your Life. I'm really proud of this event and all we've been able to do to support key pieces of legislation like advocating for safety cameras and increased truck safety measures. So thank you so much for having me, for nominating me, and I'm so sorry I couldn't be there, but I hope the rest of your day goes well.
Yeah, I love it. Corporate talk. All right. So how can you get involved? This is a last pitch for you to really jump into what MassBike has going. We need your input, your advice, your wisdom, and your literal bodies going out and talking to people. The next real opportunity is coming up real fast. On February 3rd, we're hosting a State House Day of Action. This is going to be focused around safety cameras, traffic safety cameras, also known as automated enforcement. We do not have the ability for municipalities to set up cameras for red light running and speeding in this state, and we need that ability to happen. So this is a bill that we have been pursuing for about 4 sessions now. We think that we've gotten the language in a way that we are having real progress this year. However, as anybody who's ever tried to push anything to the State House, it is a very convoluted and challenging process. So your help would be absolutely crucial. Talk to your rep, talk to your senator, ask them to sponsor and support this bill. We have a lot of allies pursuing this bill, not just the bicycling folks, but we have folks from AAA. We have folks from Families for Safe Streets. We have folks from Safe Roads Alliance. We have the district attorneys, all of them. We have the administration. Like, we really are pursuing this. We have Transportation for Massachusetts. Thanks, Rachel, for being here too. We have a coalition behind us here. So this is, again, tangential to bicycling, but we hear it in every community across the state. What is keeping you from safe riding? It is the dangers of traffic. And this is one essential tool that your community can put into place, but we need State House to allow this. So this is our day of action happening on February 3rd. If you can join us, if you can come into the State House, it's a wonderful opportunity. Beat those marble floors with us. It's wonderful. It's the people's house. But if you can't meet at the State House, please meet in district with your state reps and their offices and really not just ask for their support, but hear their concerns, and so that we can work this bill through. We have about a month before the bill needs to move in the House, and we think that we can get this through by the end of July. So timing is tight, but timing is possible. So please help us with this one. We also encourage you to, per Emma's topics, jump into all of the statewide work that we support you in your local communities. Host a lights brigade. We will send you a box of lights at no cost, thanks to the Jeffrey Glassman Injury Law Firm for covering the cost of lights. We'll get it out to you. You hand them out to people. Find those dark ninjas, get them lit, get them safe. It's my favorite because it's peer-to-peer impact, and nothing warms your heart more than actually helping an individual. Because this stuff takes decades to move forward sometimes, but if you give somebody a light, boom, right in that instant. And host a volunteer night. Come join us in Boston. Come connect with Alexis in East Hampton. Come out to Worcester, or invite us to yours. More than happy to travel, as you can see. But get us in your community, helping you, helping us. This is a start of our conversation of asks. So, we're here for you just as well as you can be here for us. And then lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't have one more donate page. And this one I want to highlight because we have these posters represented here, created by a Wentworth design instructor, Carlos Villamil. He hand printed these for World Day of Remembrance. These are limited edition. We had 30, we have about 20 left. And so if anybody is interested in donating $150 or more today, get in touch with us. We can send these posters your way. These are one of a kind, made explicitly only for MassBike to have as
handmade, hand screened,
both
beautiful
donation incentive, but really a tool for remembering the power of our work. And he is an awesome designer who's taking into heart the idea of World Day of Remembrance and the ghost bikes that we have out there across the roads. So for everybody online, go ahead and scan that QR code, go to our donate page. And for anybody who's here, we can talk after. I'm more than happy to have those individual donations. And per Jack and Kristen's comments earlier, about a third of our annual funding comes from individual donors. So it's not small potatoes. It really is for us to keep moving forward. We depend on these asks. So we appreciate your work and your support. I want to thank my staff for all the hard work pulling this whole thing together. Round of applause, please. And we'll stick around. I want to thank Angela from Look Park for hosting us here. What a gorgeous spot. And is anybody ordained? Because we should also offer weddings here while we have it. Until 3:30, we have this room. So get it quick. For everybody online, thank you so much for joining on Zoom. We will have this recorded in bits and pieces to be sent out over the next couple of weeks. So if you want to catch up on any of this stuff, and we'll have, of course, all the slides available for you as well. But I think we got one more slide, just like a nice little thank you. Yes. Talk to your partners. I want to thank the Friends of Northampton Trails. I want to thank the Plays in Place. I want to thank Kitty Knox with Lori Finnison's work. I want to thank DCR and Mass Trails. I do want to thank, who else we have up there? Friends of Northampton Trails. I want to thank Valley Bike and all the folks in Northampton for tabling here. Did I miss anybody? I think we got it. The pedal people who brought their trailer out front. Check it out. Stay warm, stay safe, look out for your neighbor. And I'm so glad we got this in before the storm. Gorgeous day here in the Valley, so please hang out. And we're so proud to be here at the Connecticut River Valley. Thanks so much for joining our MassBike annual meeting.